Well, one of my all-time favorite movies uh, uh, with, I tell you, Kirk Douglas, a great actor, Peter Ustinov, Gene Simmons, and also I'll tell you a guy named a great man, a good man, who stood up to the Hollywood blacklisting. Dalton Trumbo uh, adapted a book written by Howard Fast in 1951 entitled Spartacus. He adapted it to the movie. And of course, they've been having those slave wars, and here we see Peter Ustinov with his back to us. He's looking at down at the new recruits, and actually the new recruits they're actually slaves, and he's welcome to Gladiator School, and in a minute he's going to be giving them some news. But I'd also like to thank at this time, or before I get rolling on this page, so the Douglas family, great actors and good people, and I tell you, I always enjoyed Michael Douglas, all his work, and his causes, and I remember in Streets of San Francisco with Buddy Boy with Carl Malden. All right, but now again, back to ancient Rome, right before the senators killed off the messy Republican and democracy. They had pretty much learned a lesson. That if you keep people poor, you probably get them to fight to the death. All right. Well, at any rate, see, this is very much about denying people human rights, and we had right after World War II, of course. Wall Street, the rich in this country, very worried about communism as an alternative economic theory. We had this thing called a Red Scare. Commies were going to take over, and Senator Joe McCarthy and Dick Nixon and other demagogues and lowlights, they got very involved with something called blacklisting. And what blacklisting was about was like if you said, well, I think we should have universal health care. Well, that was considered that could be considered a commie idea by the right wingers of the time. So what they would actually do was if they had if they found out that you had been involved in any social causes, and by the way, the Communist Party was a legal party here. I mean, back in the 30s, remember we were in a depression, and now they're running around and they're saying, well, so and so's a commie, they're going to be with the Russians, and we're not going to let them work. So blacklisting was an attempt by people like Dick Nixon, Tail Gunner Tail Gunner Joe, Screaming Joe McCarthy, and his aide Roy Cohn. Now we all know about Roy Cohn. That's the lawyer that the mob lawyer, after he got effectively run out of Washington, D.C., he's the one who, Trump admires so much, and Trump learned so much from that guy. And of course, Roger Stone has been buddies with Trump, Cohn, and of course, good old Dick Nixon. Well, we know what kind of person that Roger Stone is. But at any rate, let's not kid ourselves. This Project 2025 stuff, the right wing has been trying to get control, economic control, and to limit human rights and freedom of speech and all that for a long, long time. So let's be aware of that. Well, at any rate, so this scene, the recruits are down here in the carts, and hey, there we are, there's Kirk Douglas, and he's looking up and he's getting the news, and they're being told by Peter Ustinov, the owner of the Gladiator School, you'll be sold to ladies and gentlemen of fine quality who appreciate a good kill. Oh, well, they got that to look forward to. All right, and I'll tell you what, I was talking about that Blacklisting, good movie on the YouTube, right there it is. Tells you all about Wall Street trying to social engineering and the blacklisting. And there was also in 1933, a Major General Smedley Darlington Butler of the U.S. Marines. He wrote a short book. I believe he got a little upset with Wall Street. They wanted him to try run the coup with a lot of former soldiers that were unhappy. They had a tent city down in Washington trying to get back pay. And I'll tell you what, he blew the whistle on them. And Congress was very slow to publicize everything that Major General Smedley Darlington Butler, I believe a man of honor, had to say. So, let's consider all of that as we move on. So, back to the kind of quality and our academy. And again, the Romans, and this is, so if it was Spartacus and the Third Servile War, that was about 73 years before Christ, the death of Christ. The Romans had picked up on the Greek democracy, and they had started their democracy right after the Greeks in the year, 500 years before Christ. But again, apparently, it seems that the Roman senators had become a little nervous with democracy, and what can I tell you? The idea, the stress of people wanting change, I guess it kind of got to them, and the rich and powerful senators decided they needed to get rid of all this complicated democracy stuff and just go with, get themselves an emperor, absolute guy who could step down on freedom of thought, or idea, the idea of other people having ideas. And Jesus Christ came along, and of course he was crucified for being a troublemaker. And of course, what did Jesus said was, so in everything do to others as you would have them do unto you. And that golden rule, of course, Romans didn't like that because they had their slavery as an economic system. And of course, God told us that we should love our God with all our heart, our soul, and our mind. And actually, well, I'll tell you what. Now, maybe you may know some people who claim to be in direct connection with God, but there are many of us who find that we find God by communicating with others who also search for God, and we find it within ourselves when we're comfortable with, well, our own thoughts. And when we truly love ourselves, well, that is just a super blessing. And if we're consistent in our principles, we can be content and serene. If we lie to ourselves, I think we're going to be unhappy. Or at least that's the case with me. When I lie to myself, I'm unhappy. When I truly believe that I am being principled, uh, I'm happy. And well, I continue on now because, well, I'm just, I enjoy the debate. I enjoy the life uh, as an American who is free to express my ideas. Continuing on. So at any rate, after the Romans switched from this democracy thing to the old emperor idea, could we ask, well, the next thing you know, you had Caligula. He was quite a dictator, and you know what he did? Now, 37 after death, 41 after death, Caligula comes along as emperor. Well, I'll tell you what, all this efficiency stuff wasn't enough, and it was time for him to raise the taxes. He's raising the taxes, and he's finding other co-conspirators with this here emperorship, whatever you. He's finding them untrustworthy. In other words, they weren't loyal enough. So now he's killing them off. So he's got violence and all of this stuff and the orgies, pop, pop, pop. Now considering how our Donald Trump was buddies with Jeffrey Epstein for so long, considering he lost some civil case against, was it E. Jean Carroll about where sexual offense. There's been all kinds of stuff. I mean, this guy, don't tell me to say, he wants to be dictator, emperor. How's this sound? He loves to make up funny names. He loves assigning name tags. How about Donald Caligula Trump? Oh, ha ha. And, well, after Caligula,